sitting in a waiting room. Your phone just died. A single minute stretches out like an hour. You shift in your seat. You sigh. You stare at the ceiling. You're bored. But what if that feeling isn't a glitch in your brain? What if it's one of the oldest survival tools you own? Most people treat boredom like an enemy, something to kill as fast as possible, an empty space that needs to be filled instantly with video, scrolling, noise. But your brain didn't invent boredom for no reason. It spent millions of years building it. So why does it exist? Start with a simple question. What actually happens inside you the moment boredom kicks in? Psychologist Sandi Mann at the University of Central Lancashire ran a series of experiments where people performed dull, repetitive tasks, copying numbers out of a phone book, for example. And in those exact moments, not during rest, creative thinking spiked. Boredom switched imagination on. It didn't shut it off. Strange, right? You assume boredom is dead time. It's actually your brain flipping into a different gear. Scientists call this the default mode network. Neuroscientist Marcus Raichle discovered it. When you're not focused on anything specific, certain brain regions don't go quiet. They get louder. Your brain starts planning, remembering, connecting ideas that had nothing to do with each other a moment ago. This isn't a pause, it's background labor. Now picture 100,000 years back. Your ancestor is sitting at the mouth of a cave. The hunt is over. Food is stocked. No threat nearby. Nothing urgent to do. This is exactly where things get interesting. The moments that pushed the species forward weren't the chases. They weren't the fights for survival. They were the quiet stretches in between. Psychologist John Eastwood at York University has spent years studying boredom, and he describes it not as an absence of stimulation, but as a signal. A signal that your current activity, or lack of one, isn't matching what you actually need right now. Boredom pushes you to search, to find something new, something that fits better. For early humans, that search meant something specific. Time to explore. Time to find a new way to get food. Time to look at an ordinary rock from a different angle and suddenly see a tool instead of a rock. Boredom was driving innovation long before the word innovation existed. Flip the logic around. If your ancestors had never felt bored, they'd have never gone looking for anything new. Why change the hunting route when you're already fed? Why experiment with fire when you're already warm? Boredom created pressure, and pressure demanded release through action. That's exactly why the people who could sit with boredom and use it as fuel left behind more descendants. Their curiosity led to discoveries. Discoveries led to survival. Survival led straight to you, reading this right now. But here's the paradox of modern life. Back then, there was nothing to drown boredom out with. It pressed down, and the brain had no choice but to search for answers from inside itself. Today, you can silence boredom in half a second. One swipe, and your brain gets handed ready-made stimulation from the outside. It doesn't have to build anything on its own anymore. Researcher Aaron Westgate at the University of Florida has shown just how uncomfortable people are sitting alone with their own thoughts. In one striking study, a portion of participants chose to give themselves a mild electric shock rather than sit quietly with nothing to do. Pause on that for a second. People chose pain over emptiness. That says something important. Modern humans haven't lost the capacity to feel bored. They've lost the capacity to tolerate it. And tolerance was the whole point. Not instant escape, but the ability to stay in that uncomfortable in-between long enough for the brain to actually get to work. Think about the last time you had a genuinely good idea. It probably wasn't at your desk with 15 tabs open. It was probably in the shower, on a walk without your phone, standing in line staring at nothing in particular. That's not a coincidence. That's the default mode network doing exactly what it evolved to do millions of years ago. Here's the interesting part. Boredom isn't the absence of thought. It's thought shifting into a different gear. When you fill every free minute with something external, you never let that internal gear engage. Your brain never reaches the stage where real creative work begins, because it keeps getting fed before hunger even sets in. So the next time boredom shows up, don't rush to erase it. That might be the exact moment your brain is trying to do what evolution built it to do. Not punish you with emptiness, push you towards something new. Your ancestors couldn't grab a phone and drown out boredom with a feed of videos. They had to sit with it, stare into a fire, think. And out of that stillness came the first tools, the first cave paintings, the first stories ever told around a flame. Boredom isn't a bug in the human system, it's a built-in mechanism that's been pushing this species forward since the very beginning. So maybe next time your phone dies in that waiting room, don't rush to charge it. Maybe sit in that uncomfortable silence a little longer. You never know what idea decides to step outside, right while you're standing there doing absolutely nothing.